Alright, I get it, it's old news, but I thought this was a great opportunity to go out there and talk about one of the most beloved Montreal Canadiens we have seen in a very long time. You know from the title, you know from the thumbnail, he is the Titan himself, the destroyer of worlds, the Tanjiro fire-breathing monster himself. Today we are talking about Juraj Slafkovsky. Off of the tails of his very first NHL hat-trick that he had scored the other night. And yeah, we did make the video going over the game itself, but that video was more so about the game and the fact that the Canadiens absolutely destroyed the Philadelphia Flyers 9-3. It was a huge win, but we didn't use this video as an opportunity to talk about Juraj Slafkovsky's response to everything that happened on that faithful night against Philly. What I wanted to do is bring up a few interviews, talk about some comments made by Slafkovsky in response to the game on Tuesday, as well as go over a full Slovak translation as to what he said post-hat-trick. Let's start out with one of the first comments that Slafkovsky made during the post-game presser. He said that he's been playing sick and that he didn't sleep last night. And to that, I mean, look, how in the world is that even possible? Juraj Slafkovsky had been so good, he had a breakaway goal, he scored beautiful one-timers on the cross crease, and he has just been on a roll the past little while that it's kind of surprising to hear that he's not at full health, nor that he's getting any sleep. Now, of course, that might just be an isolated incident, maybe he's getting sleep every other day, but heading into the game against Philly, he had 0 hours of shut-eye. Maybe he's got to not sleep more. Maybe that's the key to success here. Who really knows? But Juraj Slafkovsky played sick. He had himself all of these great things happening to him, so we'll see if a lack of sleep Juraj Slafkovsky is better than a well-rested one, I guess. There also were stats posted about Slafkovsky becoming the second youngest Montreal Canadiens player to ever score a hat-trick, only being bested out by Stéphane Richer. Everybody else here, Guy Lafleur, Ryan Poehling, Galchenyuk, Bernie Boom Boom, they all happened to have been older than Juraj when they had scored their first Habs hat-tricks. Slafkovsky also said himself, again, I don't even know about these records. It's not important. It's not about the records. I'm just happy to see the team win. So again, Slafkovsky reiterating that his mind, his focus is not really on how he's doing well in Canadiens history, how he's setting some new records and being one of the top landmarks in Habs history, a 100-year-old franchise, by the way. He's going out there and saying, yeah, no, I care more so about the victory than I do with the actual cool stats and everything, which is great to see. You know, he's a big team player, and I don't think that's surprising to anybody to hear. There also were some comments made by Slafkovsky during the practice earlier yesterday. Here was one that was posted on the Canadian subreddit. What can you say about the reaction of the crowd at the end of the last game? Slafkovsky said it was pretty loud. Last time it was that loud, it was when Cole Caulfield tied the game versus Philly last year. It's a pretty nice feeling too. That Caulfield goal against the Flyers a year ago to tie the game late was a pretty big one. It's kind of nuts how the crowd in Montreal seems to have been getting big treats in games against the Philadelphia Flyers, and Juraj Slafkovsky is very perceptive in being able to see that pattern here. But the main meat and potatoes of this video that I wanted to go over was a short interview that Slafkovsky did after the game with a Slovak reporter. Take a look at this post made on the RHAB subreddit by Scubo86. After his first hat-trick, more Slafkovsky is always better, so I translated this short interview after the game that he had with a Slovak reporter. Before we get into it, I like these interviews because seeing a player talk in their native tongue allows more, dare I say, free-flowing and just loose answers. Like, when you're learning media training, you have to follow these specific rules, you have to follow these guidelines and these paths, and it's a lot easier to go down those cliches when you're speaking in a language that is not your main language. So being interviewed in Slovak allows Slafkovsky the opportunity to maybe let loose a little bit. Not 100%, of course, he's never going to be 100% brutally honest with whichever media interviewer is talking to him, but it offers a different insight here. So, the question is, how did you feel after scoring your first hat-trick in the NHL? Slafkovsky answers, saying it's a great feeling to score a hat-trick after a long time, for the first time in pro hockey, actually. I'm happy that it went in, and I'm happy that it happened at home, here at the Bell Center. The atmosphere was unreal, so I'm very happy. I never had a hat-trick where people threw hats on the ice, so it was great. I'm just very happy. This was a great game for you. What is the reason that it went so well? I think our whole team was prepared and determined to win today. We agreed in the locker room about how we want to play these last 5 games, and I think everyone did their part. It would have been better if we didn't have those 3 goals scored against us at the end, but I'm happy because everyone was lucky to score today. And as we had said, during the post-game video, I'm pretty sure there were only 2 forwards on the Canadiens forward core that did not register a point in the 9-3 win against Philly. Lots of scoring going around, lots of points, lots of goals, lots of assists. And for the Montreal Canadiens, this is interesting to note that they're coming into the final few games of the season with this certain attitude that says that they just want to go out there, play their butts off, get some points, score some goals, and build that momentum to end off the year. Which is interesting because I did see quite a few Canadiens fans during the Philadelphia Flyers game saying, okay, it's great that Slafkovsky scored a hat-trick, it's great that the Habs won 9-3. But what about the tank? You see, if you go over to Tankathon right now, Montreal is in the 5th best position for the 2024 NHL Entry Draft. They're tied with the Ottawa Senators, and they're 1 point ahead of the Arizona Coyotes. Now, this seems to be the territory of teams that could realistically swap themselves around. Montreal, Ottawa, Arizona. I think Columbus is a little bit too far down. Actually, yeah, mathematically they're too far down. The Blue Jackets don't have an opportunity to catch up to the Montreal Canadiens. So right now, the Habs are battling with Ottawa and Arizona for the 5th overall spot. So depending on what happens in those games, we'll see if they're able to squeak away some extra points, lower the Canadiens' draft position a little bit depending on what happens with the Habs. But long story short, this team, the guys on it, they're not going to be losing these games intentionally. They want to go out there and still play their hardest, and if it results in 9-3 victories, then so be it. That kind of looks like what their plan is here. Slafkovsky goes out there and admits that, which is nice to see. Aren't you sad the season is coming to an end for Montreal? He says, yeah, I'm happy that I'm warming up now, so it'd be nice if it continued to next year. Maybe I'll save something special for next season, too. And that seems to be one of the biggest sentiments that Canadiens fans are also sharing as well, that Juraj Slafkovsky has been scoring at such an amazing rate ever since the beginning of the year, pretty much, that he's got 7 points in his last 5 games, 11 points in his last 10. He has been producing like crazy. This is not a bust, and a player who is already molding himself in what should have been a sophomore season as a top 6 option for the Montreal Canadiens. So for him to carry that momentum forward in the next season, I think we could realistically start to predict, let's just say, a ceiling of 60, 65 points even in 2024-2025. If everything goes along this crazy high progression, then maybe he hits 70 points. I don't want to say it's impossible at this point. Like, think about it like this. Cole Caulfield comes back to the Habs and he is good again. Like, I say again, he's been fine this season, but has lacked that goal-scoring touch that he has been known for in previous years. Let's say Caulfield gets up to 30-35 goal production pace. Kirby Dach is back, so there's a really nice passer added elsewhere in the top 6. Nick Suzuki stabilizes at 75 points a season, and Slafkovsky is right there to capitalize. Who really knows what the ceiling could be there for Juraj next season, but he highlights just how he'd like to carry over this success in this Slovak interview. And then at the end, the question is, how was the reaction of fans to today's match? He said it was unbelievable. We have the best fans and nobody can take it away from us, and I'm happy I can be a part of this team. Speaking as to Slafkovsky's perspective about the fans, there were some comments posted by Slafkovsky on the Habs subreddit that I thought were great. This was one from 2 years ago, during the 2022 NHL Entry Draft. Hockey is the Montreal Canadiens fans' passion, as well as mine. Maybe some of them didn't like me, but I'll do everything to make sure they actually like me one day. Hey, guess what, Slafkovsky? That one day is here, and a whole bunch of Canadiens fans will not trade this guy for the world. Sure, there may have been sentiments in the past. Oh, I would have rather had Wright. I would have rather had Cooley. I would have rather had Nemec or whatever. But not anymore. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Juraj Slafkovsky's response to his hat trick the other night against the Philadelphia Flyers. The Habs are indeed back in action heading into the evening. They're playing off against Bo Horvat and the New York Islanders. We'll see how they're able to bounce forward with that. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Slafkovsky's comments on his hat trick the other day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.